Hey guys, it's Alyssa here, and today I shall be coming at you with some short book recommendations. All of these books are either just over 300 pages, like 310 pages or something like that, or all the way down to less than 100. So I'm gonna go with the books that have the most pages to the least pages. So I very easily could have put more on this list of short books that I enjoyed, but I specifically wanted to keep it to books that I found either highly engaging or fun or easy to read. All of these are easy to read because I wanted this list to be books that you will find easy to read. Even if they're short, sometimes it still feels like a task. First one is a book that is just over 300 pages, and that is The Royal Art of Poison by Eleanor Herman. I read this year and absolutely freaking loved it. As the title suggests, it is a book all about how people in, I don't know if it wouldn't be medieval times, but basically times in the past of when they either on purpose or accidentally poison themselves. Surprising amount of things that you would consume or wear or use that had poison in them. And it was such an entertaining book. It was gross at points. It goes into specifically chapters on people who have died, who it's believed that they died of poisoning, when really that probably wasn't the case. It's just they didn't have modern medicine and they couldn't detect certain diseases. It's so interesting. I thought it was fun and entertaining. I thought it was pretty easy to read for a nonfiction. So if you're looking for kind of a lighthearted nonfiction read, I do suggest this one. Even though it's dealing with a pretty grim topic, I thought the author did a really good job at keeping it surprisingly lighthearted and just so interesting. The next book is more of a hard-hitting book, but just as wonderful, if not more, and that is Bloodwater Paint by Joy McCullough. Oh my goodness. I love this book. This is a wonderful book written in poetry. It's poetry or prose, I'm not sure which. It is a wonderfully crafted novel. Trigger warnings though for rape. It is the entire plot point of this book basically. It is a breathtaking novel based on real events, so it's like a novel but it's based on like a real life person. The main character, Artemisia, it's basically all about her bringing her rapist to trial and how, I believe it was ancient Rome, they didn't do that. It's unlike anything I've ever read and I just really loved it. So if you're looking for a different type of poetry book that's still a novel but deals with heavy topics and interesting character dynamics, then I recommend this one. The next book is actually a book that I own for once, and that is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I believe I read this in 2018, I want to say. This probably made it on my favorites of that year, probably. This book is 292 pages, and for only being 292 pages, wow, does it tell a story. If you are looking for a really good book that I think really explores difficult family relations, I think this book goes into it pretty well. I related a lot to this book at the time and is definitely a book I see myself rereading in the future. I think it's beautifully written. I think it's easy to understand and is so complex but not complicated to read. The next book is a book that, other than my wrap up when I read the book, I don't think I've ever talked about, and that is Scream Sight by Justina Ireland. I saw this book at my local library at the time, and I know I had seen Justina Ireland from, I think, her book Dread Nation, I think, and I saw it and it was like a middle grade YA thriller. So I was like, oh, let's do it. I never read those, so I picked it up and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. This isn't the type of thriller / mystery I would go into wanting surprises, but my god, was I so invested. It was so thrilling. I thought the pace of this novel was so well done that even though I could predict what was happening and it wasn't the most shocking thing in the world, it just sucked me in. So that's why I rated this book so highly, was just because it was written so well and kept me so entertained. So if you want a book that is pretty fast-paced and just fun, I recommend this book. Next book is kind of like the oddball of this list. There are many varying reviews on this. I haven't seen a lot of people who loved it. The only other person I've seen who loved it is Sylvia over at Wish Fulfillment. I absolutely freaking love this book, gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and that is My Sister the Serial Killer. I absolutely freaking love this book. I really like how it explores just how intense the idea of like blood is blood and protecting your family and blood before anybody else type of thing, just how much that can affect you. Really realized that 2019 was the year of me reading about morally great characters and still being invested, and that's why I was so invested in this story. Is there anybody likable? No. Do you cheer for anybody? No. Do you think that anybody's reasoning behind anything that they do is reasonable, or you can find some sort of excuse for it? No. They just act badly and they try to make excuses for it, and you see right through it. But it's so interesting to watch it all unfold. I like the way that it was written in like such short chapters, and it felt like little snippets, but yet the story still flowed very well. It was just marvelous, different, innovative, dare I say, and I just highly recommend it. The next one is Strangers Assume My Girlfriend Is My Nurse by Shane Barkaw. I love this book. If you're looking for a hilarious memoir, I highly recommend this. Shane really grew between his first one and this one, and I go into it more in my wrap-up. Just, he's so funny. He's so funny. Gives you an insight on people with physical disabilities, things that can make their life harder. And I liked it. The next 3 are kind of like right under 200 pages. The next one I will be talking about is Funny You Don't Look Autistic. Oh my god, I forgot to write down the author's name, but the cover will be here. Listened to the audiobook and found this so entertaining and so like a learning experience for me. Author, it's a memoir obviously, and the author talks about what his life is like living with autism / being on the autism spectrum, just kind of how he functions in the world, and giving more of like a closer look if you don't know anything about autism. I think this was really eye-opening for me at the time. I like how he talks about his own personal experience, but he's like, don't take what I'm saying as like the end-all be-all, because like I even barely know the barest minimum. I had never heard of it. I just saw it on Hoopla, and I think more people should read it. The next book is a book thrown way back. I haven't read this in years, but I know it's a good book, and that is Weird Thing Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. The title says it all. If you've worked retail, specifically if you've worked in the bookstore, you will highly relate to this book. It is so funny. Actually, a close book that is a short book, but isn't on this list technically, is I Think I Work at a Public Library. Also very good, very similar vibes. It makes you wonder why people say the things that they do. Just really makes you think. The very last book is another book that I read in the month of November, but it was very short and very touching and made me cry, and I thought definitely deserved a spot on this list, and that is And Every Morning the Way Home It Gets Longer and Longer by Fredrik Backman. This is a very short, even in large print, this was like 96 pages, little novel about a man, a grandfather, father, husband, learning to say goodbye. And I don't know if he quite has Alzheimer's or dementia or what he has, but it's that. And basically he's dying, and it's, wow. I didn't know I could feel so emotionally invested in such a short period of time. I think within 10 pages I was already wanting to cry. I don't know how this book did it, but it did. It's a very lovely, touching story, and made me cry. That's my recommendation for some short books on this list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't normally do recommendation videos like this. This is like a new territory for me. If you have already read any of these books, let me know down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Or if you have any other short book recommendations, let me know, because a sis is into books that are between 200 and 300 pages. A sis is here for it. And I hope I shall see you in the next one. Bye.